Hello everybody, back again with another video. In today's video, I want to talk about renting. Yes, renting. Renting an apartment, to be more specific. Renting is something that most people do to transition from living in their parents' home to living in the real world. Unless you're lucky or you have a lot of money saved up or your parents let you save a lot of money, most people go from living in their parents to renting an apartment, and then eventually they'll buy a home or whatever. But most people aren't going straight into home ownership because it does require a lot of savings, down payment, money for emergencies, closing costs, all that. So most people are renting. There's pros and cons to renting. Now, let me tell you a little bit about my rental history. So, I moved out of my parents' home in December 2020, moved into a studio apartment. I lived in a studio apartment from December 2020 to December 2022, which was last year. Then moved into a one bedroom. And my lease on this one is actually 10 months instead of 12 months, so it actually ends in October of this year. And so I don't know if I'm going to stay in this one bedroom, though. The reason why I say that is because I really find that I don't use up as much space as I thought I would use. And so that's one of the things about moving into a bigger place. Is like, okay, you find that you're not really gonna use, if you find that you're not gonna use up as much space, you're gonna start feeling like you're wasting money. And so that's kind of the feeling I have. I'm like, I could have just stayed in the studio, but oh well, you live and learn. Maybe I'll go back to the studio once I get done with this lease. What's funny about my rent was pretty low from December 2020 to December 2021. Then my rent went up by like $159. So I paid that from December 2021 to December 2022. Then I upgraded to a one bedroom, which increased my rent by like it's like over $200. And so I was like, I could have just stayed because they would have raised my rent by like $30 if I would have just stayed in the 1 second. Sorry about that. They would have just raised my rent by like I think just under $30 if I would have stayed in that studio apartment. So it's like, wow. I kind of wish I would have stayed, but it's all good though. Let's talk about the pros of renting though. There's a lot of pros to renting. There's also cons as well. And so, renting. And I got this list. It's actually a list of like 10 items that I got from this website called Investopedia.com. And so it says the number one pro of renting is no maintenance costs. And that's true because, if my dishwasher breaks or something breaks, refrigerator breaks, they're going to send their maintenance team into the apartment and fix it at no cost to you if you're renting. Of course, if you own the home, you have to pay out of pocket for that. And so, I'm glad that I don't have to pay for, appliances breaking or anything. And so that's always a good thing. Of course, in this apartment here in particular, I haven't really had a lot of issues, but if something does go wrong or something does break, that's just one of the things, one of the pros. It's like you don't have to worry about paying out of pocket. So no maintenance costs. There's usually amenities at apartments. You don't have to go out and buy a gym membership because you have a community gym. You have a community pool. You have a business center where you can go in and do work and print things. And, you know, these are some of the amenities that are offered at various different apartments. And so, you know, I know in particular, I used to go to my apartment's gym a lot, but I just like to exercise outside more. You know, just be some about being inside and doing a lot of exercise. It's just not my. I guess you could say it's not my thing. I rather just rather be outside with nature from exercise. Although recently, because it's so hot, maybe I ought to consider going back inside, because if I don't, I have to wait till the evening when it's not so hot to be outside to um, exercise or get up early in the morning, which I'm not the greatest at, I'll be honest. So now I actually woke up this morning about 5:30 in the morning. And guess what? I ended up going back to sleep, and I told myself, you know what? I was gonna go outside and run. And by the time I woke up again, it was like 8 o'clock in the morning, and it's already hot. By the time it's 8 o'clock in the morning, so it's like, man, I should have just not been lazy and just got up, and went out 6 o'clock in the morning. And I ended up falling back asleep. But yeah, anyway, that's amenities. You don't have to worry about real estate taxes, because you don't pay taxes on an apartment, but you have to pay taxes, property taxes on a home. So that's another advantage of renting. There is no down payment when it comes to renting, unless you consider a security deposit a down payment, which you'll usually get back as long as you don't damage the apartment. But that would be your down payment, which is really not a down payment. It's a security deposit just in case something goes wrong in the apartment. That's your fault. They'll take that money out of your security deposit to fix that. So let's see, because I actually have these written down, so if you see me looking down, I'm kind of trying to go through this list here. And once again, this is from this website called investopedia.com. They do like a lot of they talk about a lot of investments and stuff like that. But this list here is just talking about pros and cons to renting, really. So let's see. Oh, so it says more flexibility in terms of where you want to live. And that's true in the sense that apartments are pretty much everywhere. Apartments are pretty much everywhere. Versus like neighborhoods. Like, let's say you want you want to live in a decent neighborhood. It may be further away from where you want to live versus a decent apartment, because apartments are just literally everywhere. Apartments, they're everywhere because apartments, they a lot of people who live in apartments, they want to live closer to work and stuff, and or live in the city. You can do that via an apartment. They're just more of them around, really. But let's see. So yeah, more flexibility in terms of your location. Property value is of no concern. So unless the apartment is turning run down, you don't really have to worry about property value in terms of monetary value, because when you have a house, property value is of concern. If the neighborhood starts going bad, the value of your property is going to start going down. If crime starts going up, your property value is going to go down. So property value is a concern if you're buying a home, but if you're renting, that doesn't really matter. All you got to do is move out if you have a big issue with, the way things are going with you living in the complex. So that's one of the big advantages. It also says you can always downsize. It's actually easy to do that, actually, because you're signing leases. Once your lease is over, you can live anywhere you want to. Or even if you have a lease, you can technically break the lease, even though that's not the best idea. But if something comes up, you can always leave at any time. Although you will break the lease, you technically can do that. But if you have a home, you have to sell that home to get out of it. A home might not sell right away. You have to hold on to that property, still pay the mortgage on it until somebody decides they want to buy the home. So, let's see. Insurance. Renters insurance is lower than homeowners insurance. Renters insurance, there's really just less to insure. I mean, your average apartment is a lot smaller than your average home. Even a small home is larger than some of your biggest apartments. So you don't have to worry about expensive renters insurance. So that's a big pro. Lower utility costs. That goes back to how big the apartment is. A lot of apartments are a lot smaller than a lot of homes, and so your utility costs going to be lower. 600 square foot apartment is going to be cheaper to heat or cool versus a 1,500 square foot home, 2,000 square foot home. It's just how it is. Water bill. Water bill might kind of be the same unless they charge you more per gallon that you use or whatever. But in terms of electricity, AC, all that, that's going to be more expensive. There's just more stuff to power, more stuff to keep, more space to keep cool, keep warm, all that. Yeah. Okay, yes, I wrote that. I think I wrote this twice. Wow. Let's talk about the cons. Cons of renting. I want to get out of renting pretty soon, though. And these are some of the reasons. But I know I'm just starting out in life. Like I say, I'm only 24 years old, so I'm in an apartment now. But one day I'm going to have a property. Let's talk about the cons of renting. Rent increases. Your landlord every year is going to increase rent because as his bills go up, your rent is going to go up by even more so that they can make a profit. And that's just how it works. Your rent is going to go up and you're not going to build any equity in that apartment because you don't own that property. You're renting it. And so, when you don't have any equity, you are essentially paying for someone else's mortgage. That's kind of what you're doing in a way when you're renting. And so I would like to pay for my own mortgage. I would like to own, my home instead of renting, paying somebody else. And so, the rent increases. You're not building any equity. And just, building equity, that's important, to that ownership thing, to have equity, in a property, watching it go up in value. You don't have any of that when you're renting an apartment. You do when you own a home, though. You can't make changes like, drilling into the wall, painting the walls without asking for permission. Now, if you have a home, you can do what you want to do. You can paint the walls, drill into the walls, get things, get all types of stuff remodeled, get a brand new sink installed, all this type of stuff. Can't do none of that in an apartment without approval, and I'm pretty sure they definitely not gonna let you like remodel and put a new sink in or put a new refrigerator in. You got to just use what they have until you're able to afford um, those things. There's also more rules and regulations. They're stricter. I mean, you're talking about a community here. We all have to live in this. When it comes to an apartment, everybody's kind of all living. You're living under one roof with many different people, living in one complex with many different people. So there has to be set rules and guidelines, and you might not approve of all of them, and you might not, for example, you might play loud music and play it inside your home, but you kind of, and to a certain degree, you can't do that in an apartment, because if you play music too loud inside of an apartment, the other apartments are going to hear that because you're so close together. But in a home, you might be able to get away with that because you're not in a unless you're living in like a condo or a townhome or something, you're separated. Now if you live in an actual house, you're separated, so you can play loud music, or just do all type of different stuff. Let's see. I also have no tax benefits, and I forgot what website I got these cons from. I was looking because I do research for these videos, and I got these from like a website, and I forgot what it was, but I'll probably link it in the description box. Also, there's no tax benefits to having an apartment, and with owning a home, you do have certain tax benefits and stuff. And so yeah, that's about it. Those are the pros and cons of renting an apartment. Renting is good when you're starting out. If you're a young person, you're just getting out into the real world, renting might be an option. It probably will be your best option starting out, but eventually most people want to own some sort of home, whether it's a condo, townhome, or actual house. you know that might be what you have to do, and so might have to rent. Renting is not so bad. There's pros and cons to it. I'm just kind of enjoying the process while I'm doing it, but eventually I do want to own a home. Renting, that is something that's it's something that a lot of people have to do, and so there's no shame in renting. I actually don't mind it, but I do want a home one day, own a home one day, and so hopefully I'm able to do that. Hopefully you are able to do that as well. So yeah, that's about it for this video. It's the weekend. Today is Saturday. It's very hot outside. It's supposed to be over 100 degrees again, but that's June in the South. It's all good. That's June in the South. 100-degree heat. I can't go outside till the evening, till about 7 o'clock in the evening. Oh well. I don't know what I'm gonna do today, because I gotta stay in until the evening, and I don't have anything really planned out. I'll probably buy my groceries tomorrow. But other than that, it's the weekend. I'm off today, off tomorrow, and I don't know. What am I gonna do? I don't know. I'll figure it out. Anyway, I'm bringing this video to a close. Tomorrow I ought to have something uploaded. I don't know what I'm gonna talk about though. Maybe another food review, maybe another mukbang. I don't know. Sometimes I just kind of make these videos spontaneously. Like this one today, I didn't even have a plan to talk about the pros and cons of renting. It just kind of popped up in my head, and so I was like, well, might as well talk about it, whatever. But but yeah. Um, mm-hmm. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Enjoy your Saturday. You know, it's the weekend. Do something fun today. Travel. You know, go outside if it ain't too hot. You know, because I'm sure if you're living up north, you know, the weather's pretty nice. I was actually looking, I don't know, for some reason, I was looking at the weather in like, um, I think it was Oregon or something, and the high was like 70 degrees. I was like, what? I think it was Portland, Oregon to be exact. And I was like, the high was like 70 something degrees. Like, let me go out there for the summer and just come back in the fall. Mm. But yeah, hope y'all have a great day today.